Today in modern society, chickens are often regarded as disposable. And this is very different to how they first seem to have been treated when they were introduced. I'm Dr. Julia Best. I'm a lecturer in bioarchaeology at Cardiff University. We've been trying to radiocarbon date some of the earliest proposed chickens from across Europe and Northwest Africa. I was employed as a postdoctoral researcher on a big AHRC project. And as part of that, we were looking into things such as the size and shape of ancient chickens, what they were used for in different periods, and their diet. And as we did this work, we were starting to realise that many of the bones that had been claimed to be early chickens didn't look quite right. And so we thought, in order to actually consolidate our own research, we need to take this further and we need to go back and try and find these proposed early chickens and apply direct dating to them. Modern meat birds today, they're generally raised very fast. They put on a lot more weight than they would have ever traditionally had to bear on their skeleton, and they die very young. And this is very different to some of our earliest chickens, which look to have lived for several years, were treated as special creatures, given some degree of care, and their skeletal shape and size is very different. This chicken that's in the middle here is one of our earliest ones from Britain, and she was buried alone in a pit as a whole articulated animal. She wasn't butchered, she's not been kind of consumed, and she has a well-healed fracture on one of her lower leg bones. So she would have had a degree of care to recover from this without the leg being bowed and deformed. I'm saying she because she also has inside the shaft of some of her bones a substance called medullary bone, which is a source of calcium that birds use to make eggs. So because she has this in her bones, one, we know that she was a female, and two, we know she was still healthy enough to be laying. She'd recovered from her injury, and she probably lived quite a long life. So the fact that she has had an injury, survived, and has been buried alone rather than being butchered and consumed indicates that she might have been treated with some special status. Other examples, we find people buried with chickens. In some instances, when chickens are buried with humans, it seems to have a deity association, and these birds are thought to be psychopomps that help the soul of the deceased move to the next stage. In other settings, they could be food offerings, and so that kind of provides a link between chickens as food, but still being special as food for the deceased. So chickens can hold more than one role at the same time. And so there is a time lag from their first introduction to them being considered properly food. And even when they do become food, they still have some other roles and significances too.